You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-Mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-Mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today's Tuesday, 25th day of June, 2024. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first live broadcast, that's our live training room. So to get in there, you either have to be a member or on the 5-day free trial. If you haven't taken your 5-day free trial, go to mytradingiq.com. At the very top of the page, there's a link that says 5-day free trial, no credit card required. Click the link, fill out the registration form, take a moment, make sure you get it right. Okay, hit submit, and in most cases, same day, we'll get your desktop set up, get your indicators indicating, and then your trial will actually begin the following day. So if you do that today, what will happen is your trial won't officially start until tomorrow. We'll get you set up today, but your trial starts when you go, man, that's Wednesday. I'm only going to get 3 days. Not true. You get 5 consecutive trading days, even if it stretches over a weekend. So really, it's a 7-day free trial as opposed to a 5-day free trial. But we've said 5-day free trial for so many years. Why stop? Okay. Now, the weekend doesn't count against your trial, but there are markets that do trade over the weekend. Just saying. Now, when the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we take a 30-minute break and come back for this broadcast, the afternoon broadcast, which starts at 12 noon Eastern, unless I'm 2 minutes late like I was today. My apology. You try to do the right thing, and well, all had that problem. Anyway, when the live training room ends, after the 30-minute break, come back for the afternoon broadcast, which is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. Now, the best way, you only have to do this once. Go to mytradingiq.com, scroll down to where it says afternoon broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. In that email, there is a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it will automatically log you into our platform. Now, the benefit there is you'll have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there'll be days when you're out of the office, away from the desktop, but you still want to join live. And there'll be days when you're busy and can't join live, but you want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is very easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. You already have the YouTube part memorized, so really all you have to remember is the CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live as we're doing right now on our YouTube channel, we're simulcasting, if you will, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 2,500 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. Now, if you're new to the world of CFRN, this is also a really good way to get to know who we really are. Not just today, not just this week, but thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. Obviously, you're not going to watch them all, but pick some days at random. Doesn't matter which day. Watch a little bit, fast forward a little bit, jump to another day, do the same thing. You'll discover the thread of connectivity, the thread of continuity that's woven through each and every daily broadcast and our very vibrant trading community. youtube.com/CFRN. Our daily schedule each day, we do our best to start at 12 noon Eastern. Then we have our daily devotional, a word of prayer, and then I cover the news of the day. Then I begin the recap of the alerts, the Logic 247 alerts, the Concierge Trade alerts, and on the Logic alerts, we hit alert number 17,000 today. In fact, I think we're up to 17,003, maybe 4, but anyway. I'll begin the recap of the alerts, and then about 12:45, 12:50, Michael will join us. He'll give us a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning. Then we'll go live on the TradingView platform from 1 to 1:30, do some live trading. Then I'll come back and wrap things up with the remainder of my recap, if necessary, and our good word for the day. So there you have it. Now you know what to expect, if you're new. Okay, we started a devotional a couple days ago titled, Who is Jesus? We asked an important question yesterday, is he friend or foe? Today we're going to talk about, is he king or pawn? And I'll throw this in as a side note. At the end of the game, the king and the pawn go in the same box. Now that's deep. I'll just let you think on that till tomorrow. Today's scripture, Romans 13, verses 1 through 3. And I'm going to share with you from the Message translation. Be a good citizen. All governments are under God. Insofar as there is peace and order, it's God's order. So live responsibly as a citizen. If you're irresponsible to the state, then you're irresponsible with God, and God will hold you responsible. Duly constituted authorities are only a threat if you're trying to get by with something. Decent citizens should have nothing to fear. Again, Romans 13, verses 1 through 3. So, who is Jesus? King or pawn? This is our third question in this devotional series. And this third question we need to ask about Jesus has to do with his authority in this world. Is Jesus truly the King of Kings as he claimed? Or was he just a pawn in the power struggles of ancient history? Is Jesus seated at God's right hand in the heavenly realms, as we're told in Ephesians 1:20? Or is he just like the other figures in history, who have come and gone. The Bible reveals that throughout the history of Israel, God raised up people of power to accomplish his purpose in time and in eternity. Men and women like Joseph, Moses, Joshua, David, Esther, and Ruth. He also raised up foreign powers like the Babylonians and the Persians to enact his will on the earth. At times, God's people certainly wondered if he had forgotten about them as they remained exiled from the homeland. But looking back on the course of history, it is apparent that God always had a plan and a purpose for every move. When you look at the events surrounding Jesus' arrest, trial, and crucifixion, it can make you likewise wonder whether God was in control. From outward appearances, it seems as if he, Jesus, was just passed from one power to the next, from the Jewish authorities to the Roman government, like a pawn moved around on a chessboard. And it's difficult to consider a worse outcome to these events. God in human flesh was betrayed and crucified on a Roman cross. This doesn't sound like the all-powerful God we read about in Scripture. Was he really in control? Again, with the advantage of having the ability to look back on history, we see that God was actually using these earthly powers to unfold his plan. God needed inside power, the Jewish leaders, to railroad the Son of God. He also needed outside power, the Roman authorities, to crucify him. He needed this so the prophecies would be fulfilled, that he would suffer and die for our sins. Isaiah 53, verses 1 through 12. That's Old Testament. In this way, he could raise Jesus from the dead on the third day, and thus explode into life a church that is triumphant to this day. At times, it's easy to feel like a pawn in this chess game of life. It can seem that others hold all the power and are wrecking God's plans for you. But always remember that when you're submitted to the King of Kings, your future is in his hands. You don't have to worry about other people altering God's plans for you, for he is always in charge. Here's a few questions for you to ponder till tomorrow. What circumstances tend to make you feel as if life is out of control? Why can it be hard to see God working in these and other circumstances? How have you seen God use a difficult circumstance to bring you closer to him? How does knowing that God is always in control help you to respond to adversity? What are you experiencing right now that you would like to see God use for his glory? I mean, we all got something going on. We need his help. And what hope do you see for the future? And here's the biggie. On what is your hope based? Join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you, acknowledging your sovereignty over all authorities and powers, as your word tells us in Romans. Help us to respect and submit to the governing authorities, knowing that they are established by you. Grant our leaders wisdom and justice in their decisions, so that they may serve with integrity and promote the common good. guide us to live as good citizens, honoring the laws and contributing to the peace and prosperity of our communities. May our conduct reflect your righteousness, bringing glory to your name in everything we say and do. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen and happy Tuesday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. Then we'll get into the markets and the charts and all that stuff. Okay, here in the U.S., the Dow is down 331 points, almost 1%. On the other hand, the NASDAQ's up 187 points, over 1%. The S&P 500 is up 10 points. The Russell 2000 down 11 points. In the commodity basket, crude oil down 47 cents, trading 81.16 last. Gold down $8.90, trading 23.35 last. Silver down 51 cents, or $2,500 per contract traded. Last trade 29.02. That's a drop on silver of 1 3/4%. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei posted a gain of 368 points, almost 1%. Shanghai dropped 13 points. The Hang Seng gained 45. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 33. The DAX down 147, which is almost 1%. CAC down 44. So we had a mixed day in Asia. It was a red day for the UK. And so far, it is a mixed Radio Tuesday here in the US of A. We got two of the major indices in the red, the Dow and the Russell. And we have the NQ, the NASDAQ, and the S&P in the green. Now, as futures traders, we like to see all four of the major indices the same color. We don't care if they're all four green or all four red, because with futures, you can trade in either direction at the flip of a coin if that's what the chart in front of you tells you to do. You can be long, you can be short, you can be long again, all in the same hour. That's what the chart tells you to do. That's one of the beautiful things about futures, one of the things we like so much. I have a laundry list, but I won't go into that right now. But when the markets are mixed, as they are today, that's when you get this sort of push me, pull you kind of action, and what looks like a great trading opportunity, it doesn't quite run the distance. It's as though those other markets that are another color are putting a drag on things. Now, we've had some great opportunities today, no doubt about it. But again, just saying, we like to see them all the same color. When possible, and when not possible, well, we trade what's in front of us. All right, couple of news articles worth sharing. U.S. consumer confidence eased slightly in June amid worries about the economic outlook, but households were upbeat about the labor market and their inflation expectations over the next year improved a bit. Now, that's according to the Consumer Confidence Economic Report we got this morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Conference Board said that its Consumer Confidence Index eased to 100.4 this month from a downwardly revised 101.3 in May. Economists polled by Reuters had forecast the index slipping to 100 from the previously reported 102. Next, Nvidia short sellers make $5 billion from 3-day sell-off. Now, you know what I've talked to you a lot over the years about short selling. Nothing wrong with short selling. Some people there's a moral issue, but beyond the moral issue, I'm not even going to get into that. In order to short a stock, you have to own the stock. And you're going, huh? Okay, this is how the rules are. Now, your broker, if you short a stock like Nvidia, if you don't already own some Nvidia, your broker has 3 days to borrow that amount of shares from someone who does own Nvidia. And of course, you know, they get paid a little bit for helping out. The problem is brokers and the DTC have not enforced this 3-day rule for many years now. So short selling, legal; naked short selling, highly illegal. So do your research. I could preach a sermon on that. In fact, naked short selling is the reason CFRN was born, to bring this problem to the attention of Congress. And some of our original members testified for Congress. So back to the article. Nvidia short sellers have raked in nearly $5 billion in paper profits from the AI chip designer sharp sell-off over the past 3 sessions. The stock has slumped 13% and lost $430 billion. That's B as in billion. In market cap since June 18th, when it briefly, for a minute, became the world's most valuable company following a meteoric rise. Short sellers made $2.4 billion off Nvidia's 6.6% fall yesterday, according to a company called Vortex, the highest one-day gain since the start of their data in 2019. Some market participants have attributed Nvidia's pullback to investors rotating out of high-flying AI stocks and into other sectors as 2024 approaches the halfway mark. Despite recent declines, optimism around Nvidia's role in powering the artificial intelligence boom has driven the stock up 145% this year, making it the second best performer on the S&P 500. Now, a little different take on the same thing. Among Nvidia's sell-offs of this scale, the stock tends to be rebounding on the 4th day, which would be today, about 63% of the time. While technical analysis for insight into historic trading patterns isn't precise, it can provide a useful roadmap for investors. Nvidia has soared this year amid unrelenting demand for its chips that dominate the market for artificial intelligence computing. The latest leg of the advance saw the stock rise 43% from its May 22nd earnings report and stock split announcement to the June 18 peak, when it closed with a market value of $3.34 trillion, topping Microsoft. Nvidia is still up 144% on the year. But traders are starting to look for other AI stocks to trade. And I'm going to do my best to find you some. Not today, but in the days to come. Now, you'll all remember when Miss Janet Yellen told us that this inflation thing was just transitory. One of the biggest drivers of inflation is a cost that most Americans don't have to absorb. It's called Owner's Equivalent Rent, or OER, and it attempts to measure what homeowners could hypothetically charge to rent their own properties. What can be misleading about this particular component of shelter costs is that most homeowners in the U.S. are not renting their homes. That could be distorting how everyday Americans view inflation, which is still showing signs of stickiness. We've gone from transitory to stickiness in the official government readings. The slow inflation fight is a major reason why many Americans feel so dour about the economy. When people see really high inflation, this is a component they do not see. If people are feeling bad about inflation, and if a large chunk of that is OER, it doesn't make sense. OER is keeping inflation elevated because it accounts for more than a fourth of the Consumer Price Index, CPI, one of the government's main inflation gauges, and these costs have stayed hot even as overall inflation cools. In May, OER increased 0.4%, helping to make shelter costs the biggest contributor to that month's CPI reading, excluding food and energy costs, because none of us use food or energy. Now that I have your attention, I'm going to tell you again what OER stands for. Owner's Equivalent Rent. It's an attempt to measure what homeowners could hypothetically charge to rent their own properties. What can be misleading about this particular component of shelter cost is that most homeowners in the U.S. are not renting their homes. And I think that may change. Oklahoma Supreme Court voted 3-2 last year to approve the application by the Catholic Archdiocese of Oklahoma for the St. Isidore of Seville Virtual Charter School, saying it violated both Oklahoma and U.S. constitutions as well as state law. Under Oklahoma law, a charter school is a public school, the court wrote. As such, a charter school must be non-sectarian. However, St. Isidore will evangelize the Catholic school curriculum while sponsored by the state. The online public charter school would have been open to students across the state from kindergarten through grade 12 as part of its mission. The case is being closely watched because supporters of the school believe recent U.S. Supreme Court decisions have indicated the court is more open to public funds going to religious entities. A group of parents, faith leaders, and a public education nonprofit sued to stop the establishment of the school. Oklahoma's Republican governor and state superintendent supported the board's approval of the school. Now, you're going, well, I don't live in Oklahoma. That doesn't matter to me. Believe me, it's coming to your town, wherever that happens to be. And last, real quick, the Small Business Administration will offer $30 million in grant funding for women's business centers for a variety of projects, including funding to open a center in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Eligible organizations that are selected will be awarded up to $150,000 to open and operate a women's business center. What is a women's business center? It's a place that supports women business owners in getting government contracts, funding to provide entrepreneurial development to women-owned small businesses, focused on providing child care services, funding to provide general entrepreneurial development services to women in areas outside of where the centers currently exist. Okay, I probably could have left that one out. But that's the news fit to read. Let's roll. Logic 247. Our 24/7 around the clock E-mini alert service. Not just E-minis, also crude and gold and silver and euro and bonds. We're currently in week 308. And today we published alert number 17,000. In fact, I think the ones I published this morning took us up to 17,003. That's over the last 308 weeks. Now, over 308 weeks and now 17,000 individual handcrafted alerts, we've averaged 20% or less being stopped out based on market structure and a very simple process we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Valerie did this recap this morning at 7 a.m. Eastern, so some things have changed since then, but she'll update the recap this afternoon and then probably again this evening. At the time she did the recap, we had issued a total of 17 alerts since the markets opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. At the time she did the recap, we were still waiting on the outcome of 6. Some of those have resolved themselves, plus I've put out additional ones. So we were looking at 11 actionable alerts, of which 2 or 18% would have been stopped out, again based on market structure and that very simple process that we teach all of our passport holders. Last week, we ended up with 18%. The week before that was 10%. The week before that was also, I believe, might have been 11%. And the week before was 0%, which I think might have been a first over 308 weeks. But the average week to week over 308 weeks has been 20% or less being stopped out. Now, 308 weeks is a very long time, but long before we had Logic 247, we had the concierge trade alerts, our original alert service. Now, the Logic alerts are designed to help you learn how to read a chart. Okay, if you're new to trading, you got to learn how to read. You might say, well, I already know how to read. I learned how to read in kindergarten. No, you got to learn how to read the chart. If you moved to China, you'd have to learn to speak and read their language. Or Russia, or Germany, right? Enter the world of the financial markets, you've got to learn to speak and read this language. I'm talking about the charts. If you're new to trading, the charts look like chaos. How could anyone possibly make sense out of it? Yet it all makes perfect sense if you have someone teach you how to read the chart. Once I've taught you how to read the chart, you can look at a 30-minute chart of any market. I don't care if it's futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETF, and instinctively know what the next high probability move is. It's not magic. It's just learning how to read, which when you think about it is kind of a magical thing. Now, the CTAs go out. I forgot to change that last night. I was in a little bit of a hurry. Here, let me fix that. I forgot to change from Sunday to Monday. At least I got the date right. Yes. Okay, very good. Okay. So last night at 6:25 p.m. Eastern, all of our members, all of our trial members had these targets. Now, the logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock, 2 a.m., 2 p.m., when opportunity presents. We have traders around the globe and futures trade around the clock. The logic alerts have an entry price, an initial target, additional targets, and a final trade to target. This is where I teach you how to read the chart. Then your next step is the CTAs, okay? Now, when this report comes out each evening, shortly after the Globex Open, today's the Tuesday session, but it began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. When this report comes out, the first thing you want to do is go to the 30-minute chart of whatever markets you actually trade. And you want to make a note where price is on the 30-minute chart at this time. It'll always be between these two numbers, okay? If price gets above the 30-minute BBC, that means it's attempting to reach the long target. If price gets below the 30-minute BBC, it's attempting to reach the short target. Now, the BBC is simply the green line you see on my charts. It stands for bull, bear, cross. When price crosses above it, we're bullish, expecting higher prices. When price crosses below it, we're bearish, expecting lower prices. You can apply the BBC to any time frame. You get daily, weekly, monthly, 30-minute, 5-minute, tick chart, range chart, doesn't matter. Concept is the same. For the purpose of the alerts, it's always the 30-minute chart. Now you get to start looking left to spot those potential obstacles or additional targets that you had with logic. This is where you learn to spot those yourself. And you learn how price behaves at a weekly trading zone. That's very important because price is always trying to reach a weekly trading zone. You'll see it when we go to the charts. We've published the zones for our members since December 14th of 2009, almost 15 years. They come out Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, and once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They do not change in any way whatsoever. You just have to resist the urge to make it more complicated. As long as you know which way the wind is blowing, it's pretty simple to reach your goal for the day. Now, let us go here to the daily chart of the S&P. Now you might say, well, I don't trade the S&P and I don't trade the daily chart. I don't either. I trade the S&P, I don't trade the daily chart. But I go to the daily chart so that I can tell people where to expect resistance, where to expect support. Quite often with pinpoint accuracy. Not because I have some magical power, but because I know how to read the chart. Okay? Now this is Tuesday, this is Monday, this is Friday. Thursday night in our members only workshop, we told our members to expect support at the 62% fib extension, and that if price rose from there to look for resistance at the step line, that's the black line. Same advice, same advice. But you see what's happening is that step line's dropping, so we've got less range now between resistance and support. Eventually, my thought is, see that black step line when it crosses blue and climbing? That's an indication that price is going to attempt to pull back to the BBC. Just so happens that the BBC is now currently lined up with the 50% fib extension. Today's low, 55.11. Yesterday's low, 55.10 and a quarter. Once we take out yesterday's low, you could look for probably a quick drop to the daily BBC. Price always reverts to the mean. When price pulls up to the BBC, the pullback holds more often than not. When price drops to the BBC, pullback holds more often than not. So when price drops to the BBC, it should give us a very nice bounce. Whether or not it'll take out the all-time historic high or not is another question that I don't have the answer to because I'm not psychic. I just know that once this low is taken out, oh, and you've got another low right here to contend with, the low of June 17th. That could be good for a bounce. And then boom, here's your next stop. Now, the reason I'm looking at a daily chart, since I said I don't trade it, is for information gathering purposes. Institutional traders, the ones with huge accounts who trade in incredible size, in fact, they're the ones that move price because of the size they trade in. And because of their account size, they look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts, the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. So if you will train yourself to spend 2 minutes with whatever it is you trade, looking at the daily chart before you drop to the smaller time frame to actually start trading, I believe you will see your results change for the better over time, because you're literally looking over the shoulder of the guys and ladies who move price. And so we know when that low breaks, we're heading to that low. And when that low breaks, we're heading to the BBC. We're seeing what they're seeing. But because we don't have the huge account size, we can't weather the drawdowns that they have to weather sometimes. And we're uncomfortable staying with a winning position or a profitable position. I hate that word winning. Profitable position as long as they are. Like I said, they've got accounts in the hundreds of millions, billions, and trillions of dollars. This works not only with futures, but stocks, crypto, Forex, ETF, doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. Now, I said that all the alerts are created on the 30-minute chart. So here's the ES. The vertical line separates today, Tuesday, from Monday. The back over here is Friday. So this is where the week began, okay? So you can just forget about that. This is Monday. This is Tuesday. Now, last night, this was the opening candle. These are 30-minute candles. So 25 minutes into the life of this candle, all of our traders had these targets. All those targets I just showed you, okay? Now, price was trapped. Support below, resistance above. Price ran up to the BBC and the weekly trading zone. That's resistance times 2. And what did it do? It sent price right down to the short target, or yesterday's low. From there, when the market finds resistance, it's going to go look for support. When the market finds support, it's going to go look for resistance. Back to support, back to resistance. Now we're looking for support again. Now, do you have any doubt that price is going to drop to this low from today and yesterday? Well, I don't. But until you learn how to read a chart, you may have doubts. That's okay. That's why you got to learn. You got to be willing to show up, do the work, ask the questions, and you too can instinctively know what the next high probability move is. Now, am I saying that it's 100% guaranteed that it's going to drop to here? No, that would be foolish. However, I do know that there's an extremely high probability that that's what's going to happen. It's certainly more probable than price reversing right now and heading in the other direction. In fact, maybe we'll get a chance to see it hit it. I can't tarry too long because we've got to cover the other markets, and Michael will be here in a minute. Now, here's what will happen. Michael will pop in. He'll give us a recap of what happened in the live training room. Then we'll trade live on TradingView for 30 minutes. Then I'll come back and finish this recap and close out with our good word for the day. Now, here's something you should know. You see that this support took us all the way up to this resistance at a weekly zone. When price drops to a zone, we expect support. When it rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance. Okay? Now, any traders that missed this move up today, they might be saying, you know what? I got left at the station on the earlier move, so I'm going to buy my ticket early. That's what you're seeing right here. You're seeing buyers come in early. But I still think we're going to drop to it. Now, this candle opened at 55.23 and a quarter and dropped to 55.12. That's like an 11-point candle. Okay. All right, we'll move on. Here's where we opened last night. We attempted to go to the long target, but what happened? We ran into this resistance created right here where the step line crossed blue and climbing. I haven't taught you guys that yet, but I will. Now, price blue and climbing, which is bullish, turns to red and falling, which is bearish. So what does price do? Comes down, gives us a leg right to the zone, which is 39,770/75. The low of this candle is 82. All right, so we missed it by a couple points. Support bounced us up to resistance, which sent us back to support at the zone, which bounced us up to resistance at the BBC, which sent us down to support at the next zone. And that bounced us up to resistance at red and falling. And then that sent us down through this zone, called a wee bounce, and then we traveled to the next zone, and now we're headed for the next zone, 39,325. Boom. Beautiful day to be trading. Russell, here's where we opened last night. Price tried to get to the long target, but it couldn't take out that high from yesterday. Blue and climbing turned to red and falling. That's our heads up. Price began to drop. It hit the zone support, bounced up to the BBC resistance, and then traded to the target again and to the zone. Overshot the zone a little bit. Okay. The support right here through the step line cross red and falling. Sent us back up to red and falling here. Resistance sent us back down to support at the zone. Only three things happen at a zone. 70% of the time will be consolidation. 20% of the time rejection. 10% of the time a slice. Hey, Michael should be here. I'm starting to worry about him. We'll give him a few minutes. In Q. This is where we opened last night. Trapped between support and resistance. It came up to the BBC, which we expect to be resistance till proven otherwise, and it was, and it sent us down to the low from yesterday. That support got us above the BBC, got us all the way up to this zone, which we expect resistance, and now we're dropping to the BBC, which we expect to be support until proven otherwise. Okay, Michael is here, so we'll pick up with crude when I come back. Michael's going to give us a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning, and then we'll go live on TradingView and trade live for 30 minutes, and then I'll come back, finish that recap, and wrap it up with our good word for the day.
All right. Here we go.
Don't see your charts yet.
Oh, you don't see my charts yet?
Oh, there we go. There you go. Looking good.
All right, good. All right. I had taken stuff off of here this morning that I should probably put back on. The green arrows, the black arrows, the blue arrows, the table, the weekly trading zones. There we go. I think we're all back in order now. All right. What the heck? Okay. If you ever get this exclamation point on the context BP, just turn it off and turn it back on. Usually it's going to refresh just fine. If for some reason it doesn't, come in here on inputs. Down here at the bottom, there is pound error. Just decrease that, 500. Okay, it's because it's looking back and it's running out of data when it looks back. All right. Here we go. You can see my charts. You can see all this good stuff. So let's just get started. Now, good afternoon, everyone. Today's Tuesday, the 25th day of June, 2024. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to take a free trial, go here to mytradingiq.com. Right here, click on that purple button. There is no credit card required for the trial. All right, click on that purple button. It's going to bring you to this registration page. On this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. Down here at the bottom, if you have NinjaTrader, give us your machine ID. If you have TradingView, give us your login ID. Okay. We don't need your email address. That's not going to be your login ID. And we don't need your Ninja machine ID, your NinjaTrader ID. That's not going to be a machine ID. All right. You got to give us the right things if you want us to enable the indicators for you. All right. Spreadsheet. So today we ended up doing the lesson plan a little extra today, as I have been recently. We did get the goal for the day. Today we got it pretty quickly. After 7 minutes and 3 trades, we got exactly the goal for the day. Over the next 3 days, I'm going to have to do better than exactly the goal for the day. I think I'm going to try to do a little bit better than exactly the goal for the day, and I'll explain why in just a minute. But if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today, we lost 4 on the NQ. We made 35 on the Russell. We made 6 on the Y, and we didn't trade the ES. Put us at plus 185 per contract on the morning session. Today, it took 7 minutes and 3 trades to get to $1,800. That is with 18 contracts on. We're exactly $100 a contract. And we took a total of 13 trades this morning. So on the month now, we're at $4,667 a contract over 16 trading days, averaging $291 per contract per 2-hour trading day. On the year, now we're at $45,157 per contract over 117 trading days, averaging $385 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Now, in here, it should work out. How many business days do we have this month? We're at 16 right now, so we have 17, 18, 19. That's why. Because we only have 19 business days this month. So it's going to be close getting the down here. This number at $2,000 per contract, this number has to equal $12,000 to be able to go to another contract come Monday. All right, and this number has to be 36,000. I'm not worried about this one being 36,000 by Friday. This one being 12,000 by Friday might be the issue. If I just get the goal for the day with 6 contracts on, it's going to be $1,800. So I need to make just a little more than that. I need to make $1,915 is what I need to make to be able to go to another contract on Monday. So I need to make $1,915 with 6 contracts, getting the goal for the day by Friday, the end of the day on Friday. So just one of these days, I need to have better than 1,800, maybe like 1,900. $200 when I get the goal for the day instead of 100. That would do it for me. But either way, Monday we'll be able to roll to another contract. If I'm not able to do it on Friday, at the end of the day on Friday, I'll be able to do it at the end of the day on Monday for sure. So it'll still be all right. Anyway, that is a spreadsheet, all right? And that is me doing my best to keep everything as as accurate as possible. All right, here. All right, this is starting to make me fuss a little bit now. I'm just going to shut it off and put a new one on. It's just a straight context PP. I don't have to do anything to it because it is on the ES. All right. The trade setups, what we did today. Let's blow this up here. And on the YM, we had some trades right at the beginning on the YM. And hopefully I didn't delete all the stuff here. It is good. I didn't. It's on the YM. My very first trade was here on the YM. Very first trade on the YM was right here. We picked up 4 ticks on that one. And just 2 more on the second one. And that was all that we did with the YM. Not to say that there were no more trades. There were many more trades in here. Blue arrows, more blue arrows, and more blue arrows, and more. This is during the break right here. There's one there that didn't work out, one there that would have gotten it back, and then one right there that would have gotten it back more, one right there even more, another one even more. So we had one during the break. We had one losing blue arrow with 1, 2, 3, 4 successful blue arrows. The green arrows did well in there too. If that's what you were looking to trade, they did really well too. All right, that was the YM. Now the Russell, let's look at Russell here. On the RTY, now I started using this during the lesson plan, and I thought I messed it all up, but it turns out I didn't mess it up too bad. On the Russell, our first trade was right here. We got 4 ticks on that. And the next one was right here. We got 12 ticks on that. That's when we got the goal for the day. We had 4 here, 12 there to get us to 16 on that. We had 4 on the NQ. This is where we got the goal for the day right there. The next trade that we took, now if you go back and look at this, sorry, let's go back here for a second and look at this. This trade right here, this was a black arrow that pulled really close to the ribbon. This one right here hit the ribbon, but did not come out of the overbought. This was a ribbon trade that I took right there. Okay, there were a few of those that happened today, and I put them into the lesson plan today. I discussed them in the lesson plan for those of you guys who weren't there. The next trade that we picked up right here, we got 17 ticks on that to put us at 33. Right, this one right here, we ended up with 17 ticks to get us to 33, went from 16 to 33 on that. And we did have one more trade for 2 ticks somewhere. I don't know where it was, but we had one more trade for 2 ticks to get us to 35. And during the break, it was just a couple of green arrows, nothing in the blue arrow segment. The ES we didn't trade all morning, but it started out, it was in a no trade zone most of the morning anyway. No, it started out in a no trade zone here a little before 7 and stayed in it until, well, just about 11. And then it was out of it for about 15 minutes, maybe. Went back in it for another hour. And this is during the break. I had 2 nice blue arrows here on the ES during the break. We didn't trade the ES at all this morning. Okay, and the NQ. We started out with the NQ. Our very first trade on the NQ, we were plus 4 ticks, and that was the only time we were positive on the NQ. I'll go back to the beginning. Hang on. Hold it. Wait. All right, so hopefully I got everything marked up, and I don't, because our first trade of the morning was on the NQ, and we got 4 ticks on it. And we got that before we got the goal for today, so it was probably right in here somewhere. Probably right here. I think I got 4 ticks on that very first trade right there. And then we didn't get any more. We got the goal for the day somewhere in there. We didn't get any more. We had a break even, and then we stopped out. Right here, we went to minus 16, and we never came all the way back from minus 16. We had a break even, then another break even, then a plus 4, it's minus 12, then another plus 4 that got us to minus 8. And then we went into the lesson plan. And there was one more plus 4 somewhere. I don't know if I marked it or not. I guess I didn't. One more plus 4 somewhere in there. But we got to minus 4. But we never did get above minus 4 on the morning session. Get into the break, and you can see there was a there's a blue arrow here, worked out well, a blue arrow here that worked out well, a blue arrow here that worked out well, blue arrow here and here, Both worked out. Blue arrow here that worked out. Finally, a blue arrow here that did not work out that I probably would have skipped anyway because the outer bands were flat. Blue arrow here, that would have stopped me out just by the tick, but it still would have stopped me out. Okay, and that's what the NQ looked like today. So even though I didn't get back above zero with the NQ, there was opportunity to get back above zero with the NQ. Okay, even though I wasn't able to do it, it was definitely there. Right. All right. So let's just jump into the trading, I guess. All right. The live stream should be going right now. So let me start up the live stream over here somewhere. Start up on this one. YouTube.com. And here it is right here. All right, so I have it running here. I'll be able to see comments as they come in. All right, so if anybody has any questions about anything, all you have to do is ask. Those of you guys that are watching in YouTube right now, I see there are people out there watching right now, or people are watching right now. If you're watching, to take a free trial, all you do is go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button right here. There is no credit card required for the trial. Click on the purple button. And that is going to bring you to this registration page. Just fill out this form. Once you fill out that form, you'll be sent a link to get into the next session, prior to the next session, every single business day until you cancel. I said that for over 10 years. That's not the case anymore. Once you fill out this form, you'll be sent everything you need to get into the room in the morning, okay? When you fill this out, if you have Ninja Trader, give us your machine ID. Do not give us your Ninja ID. Give us your machine ID. If you have TradingView, give us your login ID. Do not give us your email. All right, give us your login ID. With TradingView, it's whatever happens when you hover over your whatever that picture is. It might just be a letter or something like that. Like if your last name begins with H, it might have an H up here. And just hover over that, and it says logged in as something. Whatever you're logged in as is what we need. Okay. All right. So let's get into the trading then. Okay. We are in a no trade zone right here, oddly, because we have outer bands that are spread. So I will take a trade if we get one off the ribbon in here. We did have the purple arrow here that did actually put in a lower swing. The NQ is moving down. It has not bounced off the ribbon right here, but it doesn't really need to bounce off the ribbon. Okay, now this morning, during the lesson plan, I went into something about a black arrow like this. And if you get a black arrow and you and a pullback of the black arrow, like right here, we need to hit the ribbon like that to be able to get a trade, and that's happening right now. So let me minimize this and see if we're gonna get a green arrow over there on the NQ. Down close on that will give us a green arrow on the NQ, and we'll have to go short if we do get that. Okay, right here, there's our green arrow on the NQ, and here's our short on the NQ. Now our stop is 20 ticks away, I think. Yes, it is 20 ticks away. It should be 20 ticks away. I was just checking to make sure it didn't slip, and it didn't slip. So we need to get down to 47.50 for me to hit the stop to break even, and it just stopped me out, minus 20 ticks. Okay, well, the ES is pulling back right now, and so we could get that right back here with the ES. We'll see if that gives us a trade. It's got a high here, 1575, so we're selling 1375 on that. Now it's 16 down to 14. Yeah, now it's nothing. It's in a no trade zone. So we're not doing anything with it, right? So we did stop out over here on this green arrow short. Now, what I haven't done in a little while is look at Bitcoin and see what's going on with that thing. Ooh, look at that. Look at there. Wow, that's a good beating. All right, now I didn't think we were going to see prices this low again. Didn't think so. I don't know what's going on with Bitcoin over the last few days. I haven't looked at it clearly. I haven't looked at it in a couple of days. This is a daily chart. And I haven't looked at it in a couple of days, but wow. Yeah, that was a good beating that it took right there, a beat down. I didn't think we would see numbers down here this low again. Well, at least not for a while. But we'll see. This right here, I had this area highlighted, is an important area. And if it bounces out of this area, then shoulder, head, shoulder. It's building the other shoulder over here. Okay, it's still building it until it gets down below this level, goes down a little bit further. It's still building the other shoulder over here. Okay, you see over here how this one went right here. It's kind of where we are right now. So it's on the other side of it, right here. like this big red candle right here. That's kind of where we are. Wow, I haven't looked at Bitcoin in a while. Glad I did. All right, and what's out here? Let's take a look. What I haven't looked at in a little while is XOM. Or I was looking at that every morning. XOM. ExxonMobil, and that was on a 15 range. Ray hasn't been in the room in the morning. His son came on today, but he hasn't been in the room in the morning lately. All right, so at 9:30, we had a blue arrow right here. On 9:30, that was yesterday. Okay, we had the blue arrow right here, and it usually gives a buck. And from that entry point, it did give a buck, but it pulled back enough to stop out first. There were a lot of trades right here on the 15 range today on the Exxon. But the high is up here at 1450. Interesting. I'm going to show you something else. TY. I'm looking at this on the 4 range. You can look at it on the 15 range or 30 range, whatever you want. But I was looking at it on the 4 range, and it's had some really, really nice signals on the 4 range. I don't believe I have everything turned on here on this, but let's see. I turn this on, shut that off, turn that on, turn that on. There. I believe what I was trying to show was I shut the bias. I shut the bias off because we're getting some nice, even reversals right here. You know, they're working on enough to get your stop to break even and then get you something. And then after you get a good leg on a reversal, the midpoints are triggering really well today. And they have been a lot this week. That's with the TV trades, right? Just putting it out. I'm always watching it somewhere on the monitor, probably most of the time. I'm working on something else for anybody who's not using this or anybody who is using this who might have canceled. I am working on something else that you guys will find interesting, I think. That will help out with some of the trades. Help you seeing some of the trades, right? But let's get back to here and see if we have any trades coming up back here. Right, we don't right now. We need a pullback here on the NQ. We are sideways here, sideways. We need a pullback here on the YN. Okay, on the YN, we need to pull back down, test the ribbon and bounce. And over here on the NQ, we need to pull back and test the ribbon and bounce there too. Right, I don't have any trades on. I did have an order on the ES when I was looking for a short a little while ago, but it didn't happen. So I will cancel that. All right, the YM is pretty close to giving us a trade. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody in here have any questions about any of the stuff that we're doing? Anybody? Would I be more bullish on Bitcoin or Ethereum? Which one would I be more bullish on? Well, actually, let me look at Ethereum without, I can't just give you a blind statement without even looking at it. But on the daily chart right here, overall, long term, I'm bullish on Bitcoin. Ethereum is following in Bitcoin's path here, and it usually does. Ethereum is usually a little bit behind Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin starts to move up, like if at the end of the day today, Bitcoin somehow manages to get a nice green day and Ethereum doesn't, Ethereum's usually behind Bitcoin. It usually follows it. So I'd expect that to happen. But this is a support level in here that I had drawn up before that it came down to, and it muddled around and bounced off of. So this would be the head, this would be the shoulder, this would be the other shoulder. It needs to break the neckline. It needs to have some reason to get up above this level. And I thought there was something going on with Ethereum that might do that. But if money's going into Ethereum, it might be coming out of Bitcoin. So there's that. There's that to consider. In here, to answer your question, Ken. I'd be, right now, I'd be more bullish on Ethereum than Bitcoin right now. because Bitcoin's already started to move, and I think Ethereum hasn't. And I think there's more going for Ethereum right now than Bitcoin as far as stuff that's coming up. But I'm not, I'm not sure about that. I'm not really all that well versed in it. But I think percentage-wise, you're going to see a bigger move up in Ethereum than you're going to see in Bitcoin as we move forward here. Like it's probably a 20% move, maybe a 30% move in Bitcoin. And if we go back to Ethereum, let's just go back here. In Ethereum, it's pretty close, but I think you're going to see a bigger percentage, probably like a 40 to 50%, 40% move maybe in Ethereum when it really does start to move. Okay, what did I have for an upside on that? We've already hit that, so up here is 4,700. So that's about, that's about right. I think 40 to 50% move is what we'll probably see when it does start to move on Ethereum versus 20 to 30% move on Bitcoin. And that's just judging by the charts. All right, there could be all kinds of news and things that move the markets around that may change all of that. But just judging by the charts, that's what I would say. Okay. Hey, and Mr. I keep getting signals that Mr. on the 500 range is looking good. Let's go look at that. Right, we had a couple of long trades right here on the NQ that I didn't get because I wasn't paying attention to it. But I keep getting signals here on my phone to go look at Mr. on a 500 range. Let's go out to this one. Do it on this chart. Into MSTR, Mr's MicroStrategy, those you guys who don't know, and a 500 range. Okay, well, that would be the thing that's setting my phone off right there. So today, there were a couple of them that triggered today. Now that's the bias level will keep us kind of focused on one side of the market here. Yeah, so this has been pretty bullish all day for the Mr. It's gave the first long from way back here, another one here that pulled back before it went up, another one here, another one here, another one here. This one pulled back, and now it's kind of grabbing onto it again here. This is if you back it up in the bigger picture. In the bigger picture, I got the wrong thing here. Let me draw it like this. This was your leg up, your leg down. That's what it should be doing right here, I would think. Your last blue arrow, all the way up, then you pull back, your next blue arrow, all the way up. So, judging by this chart and using the leg lengths, which is in tomorrow's lesson plan, you would think that, oops, that's a little crooked, but I'll try to straighten it out. You would think that Mr. would be going up to here today, 1,546. So from where it is, that's like a 8% move from where it is or something like that, I think. Right, 1546 minus 1481 divided by 1546. What's that number? Try to do that in my head. 1546 minus 1481 divided by 1546 equals that. Oh, it's only 4% times 100. 4.2%. Okay, so it's a 4.2% move from where it is, but it was from where it was back here, it was an 8%. That's what this is suggesting. That's what the charts are suggesting right here. Not that anybody asked about Mr., but but it just went off on my phone, so I got an alert right here. It's in 500 range. I can show you what it looks like. I think. Oh gosh, there it is. Oops. No. There. Okay. And if I send that to Telegram it to, hang on, here. Okay, and now I'll go over here in Telegram, get it, and this is what it looked like on my phone. Alert on Mr. 500 buy, condition met 3 minutes ago. That's what it looked like on my phone. So you can have all kinds of alerts sent to your phone like that on whatever you want to look at. And even in here with our trading IQ stuff, all the alerts that we created in here, that was part of today's lesson plan. If you let's say you have something with the Logic 247, the concierge trade alerts. Let's just say that Logic 247 gave you an NQ buy up here at 19,900. So what you can do is go in here, go to alert, click on the right symbol, and let me hit cancel on that. Cancel on that. Okay, click on the right symbol. Now, what you would do is go here, click on the right symbol, go to alert. If you had a buy of 19,900, you're on the 15 range here. It doesn't really matter what it is. You can do it on the 30-minute, 5-minute, 1 minute, whatever. 19,900 is the number that's important. So you do an alert on crossing price. Then in here, you want to get it a little before. So you do 19,890. Was it 19,895? We'll say. You do once per bar close. And down here, you say 15 range, and it has all the information right there. And you hit create. You can send it to your phone. You can play a sound. I'll hit create on that. Now, depending what level of trading view you have a bunch of different alerts. That's called the price alert. Now, because I have the premium level, I have 400 alerts that I can use for the price alert and 400 alerts that I can use for technical alerts. See, I only have 40 used for technical alerts. Those are the ones that I get from the if you use any of these alerts off of the indicators, these right here, those are called technical alerts. But this stuff off of the actual symbol is called a price alert. Okay. With the premium, you get 400 of those. Now, I think I set this up so that it's going to do what? It's going to notify, it's going to play a sound. Let's do a pop-up too. Okay. So right in a few minutes here, a couple of seconds here, it's probably going to give us a pop-up. It gets to 895. And it'll alert me on the phone, and it'll make a sound in my headset. So for all of you guys who are Passport people who have access to the Logic 247 and concierge trade alerts, this is good stuff for you guys. Okay. So we're almost up there. Almost up there. And I believe I said that correctly, so we almost got there. Almost got there. I was at 896. I think I did it right. It said NQ 15 range, NQUO 15 range, 19,895. Price alert once per bar close crossing. Okay, yeah, so we should have gotten an alert on that, did we? Let's see one down here. Oh, this is Netflix possible buy soon. Anyway, that's how you set up the alert. I'm not sure why it didn't trigger. I think it was waiting to close up above there. I think that's what it was. Once per bar close, it's going to close up above there. So we got to wait for that to happen. It was pretty close, but once on bar close, if I had it set to only once or once per bar, once per minute, then it would have updated us while it went over it. Okay, but it's only going to do it once per bar close. So the bar is going to have to close up there for that to happen. But anyway, I want to show you that stuff about the alerts too. Again, not that anybody asked, but it is pretty cool to have this stuff sent right to your phone and let you know that a condition has been met that you should start paying attention to. Speaking of that, there's a long trade right here on the NQ. I'm trying to get filled at. And there, I am now filled. And here it is. Okay, so my stop should be 5 points away. I had some slippage on that. It should be 5 points away. We need 8 ticks in profit, right? Or 2 points. It's got to get up to 875 right here for me to bump the stop to break even. 875. We to bump that stop to break even. Okay. And I do have a 5-point stop, 20 tick stop on this. Okay, 5 points. And I want to go look at something else with you in a minute here, Ken. Once we finish up this trade one way or another here. It's 124, so we only have about 6 minutes left in here before I have to go and do other stuff. And a lot of other stuff I have to do today. So I'm hoping this is going to resolve to the upside, but it looks like it's probably not. Right, so that's 2 stop outs I had on the AQ. That stinks. Anyway, the other thing that I wanted to go look at was I wanted to go out here, since you asked about Bitcoin and Ethereum. I wanted to go out here on this in a larger time frame and put this on Bitcoin. Oops. BTC. If I just go to crypto, it'll bring it up to the top. Here it is, BTC USD. And you can't do that on a 500 range. You do that on like a 10,000 range, right? So every bar is $10. And in here, well, this is the intraday stuff in here for Bitcoin. But if we go to like a daily chart on entry way back in like November, something like that, probably, right? No, it's back here. 15th of May. Gave a long back here and a long right here. Hasn't given any shorts yet. I'm not sure if I have the bias on for this. I do have the bias. Let's take that off. On the daily chart, you probably don't need the bias. Okay, so it gave the short here, it gave a short here that didn't do anything. It looks to me like it's getting ready to put in another short. But you get the blue arrows here. They're pretty good. The blue and red arrows are pretty good on nailing the turns. Okay, and that's Bitcoin on the daily, and let's look at Ethereum on daily. Okay, we did get the arrow down here on Ethereum. Get the arrow up right before that huge move up right here. We got the arrow up on it back here, and we got the arrow down right here. Now, from a charting perspective, this move and this move, this is 50% of this. It's 50% retracement of that leg up, looking at on a daily chart, right? And those of you guys that follow me in the morning, you know that that's an important thing for me. Up, down, up. So where should it go? This far, right? Makes sense. If we use this thing, go from here up to there, and then we'll go from here up to there. And that's pretty much in line with what I was saying a few minutes ago about the increase from where it is, about a 40 to 50% increase. It's up here. That puts it at 4,400. And if we go back and look at what it was on this one, it was probably something similar that I was looking at in here. This up here, 4,700 is what this one was up to. So that's just looking at charts. So I mean, if you have any news that bounces things around, that's different. But just looking at straight charts, that's what it looks like to me. And using everything that we have in here, something just I didn't notice, but we got that alert there on the NQ, the 15 range. Crossing 19,895, that thing that I just put together a minute ago. If we go back here, it just did it again right there. You see it? That alert that I just put together a minute ago for you. we had to close up above it, and we did right here. We closed up above it there. Okay, actually closed up above it there, and then we closed up above it again there. It's once per bar, so every time it closes up above it, it crosses it and closes above it, it's going to give us the triggers. Like right now, well, actually, it should give us a trigger once per bar close. Oh, it opened. This is just crossing. It crossed down below it too, right there. Okay, I think I only set it to crossing. I didn't say crossing above, right? Go in here, it says crossing. So it's above and below. You're going to get it. But you see how the alerts work, right? And you can set that up. If you have TradingView, you don't have to have, that's a price alert. So you can set up a price alert anywhere. So if you have TradingView and you have the concierge trade alerts or the Logic 247 alerts, you can set these price alerts up anywhere those alerts are, a little bit before the alert, so it can let you know, like I'm getting all these alerts right here. I'm getting on my phone too right now. So if you weren't sitting at your desk and the 30-minute chart pops up and gives you an alert that's 2 points away from where you're going to actually have your trigger, you have time to go and look at it, go sit down and look at it and put the trade on. Okay. All right. I just got totally sidetracked on a whole bunch of things in this session. I stopped out twice on the NQ. And anyway, I'm running out of time, guys. If you have not taken a free trial of this and you want to, I'm going to shut these alerts off because it keeps triggering over and over. As we go sideways here and we chop around at that number that I just chose out of thin air, it's chopping around at that number, and every time it closes above it or below it, it's causing me problems. So if you want to get rid of it, you can stop it by doing that, or just remove it by doing that. Okay. But you see how easy that was to set up, and we got all those things. And look, we have all these market conditions in here for all these other things: Apple, the SPY, Netflix, Microsoft. All these other things just triggered too. All right. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on a purple button, and there's no credit card required. When you click on that purple button, it's going to bring you to the registration page. This page, first name, last name, email, phone number. Down here at the bottom, gives you an indicator machine ID if you have one. Gives you TradingView login ID if you have one. We'll get your indicator set up for you at the beginning of your trial. Right? Hit register. That's all you need to do. All right, and that's it. With that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready. Dwayne's not ready. Not yet, anyway. Okay. And I have a whole bunch of messages coming in from a whole bunch of different things, and my phone is ringing. So what we're anticipating here on the Russell is actually a deeper pullback and then a bounce. I would like to see it get up to the prior swing high, though, right up here to the prior swing high, 44.9. That would be ideal. We'll see what happens with that, though. Okay, and anyway, Dwayne does not seem to be ready to take the charts back. So I guess I will just go over more things, right? We're in a no trade zone here on the NQ right now. We want to see that run up and spread the outer bands out again, and then pull back and give us another shot at it, right? That is what we would like to see there.
Sorry, buddy.
And that's okay. That's all right. I understand.
I didn't tell you. Sometimes. Sometimes you understand. Anyway, I was going to tell you, are you in the middle of a trade?
No, not right now.
I posted some videos of this holiday that we had last week on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
We drove up to Sedona. I found this really cheap place.
Yep.
Last minute thing.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday night, going from our car to our hotel room, I'm looking towards the door. I'm not looking down. Fell in a ditch. Twisted
Oh,
my
man.
ankle. Thought I was going to have to go to the emergency care. But I go, nah, it'll be all right. So the
Tough it
next
out.
day, it was better. Then the next day, better. Then the next day, better. And then yesterday, it started hurting like crazy again. So I've got it wrapped in an ace bandage, and I'm trying to keep it elevated. But I may still have to go to the urgent care. I've been told that people of my age, when you sprain an ankle, you could also tear a ligament or something.
Oh, yeah, you want to be careful with that.
So
Because then,
I'm going to try to tough it out
especially
at
you,
least one more
because
day. Keep it elevated, keep some ice on it. Anyway, that's
all right.
another page ripped from the life of Dwayne, the book of Dwayne, whatever.
All right.
Are you done?
All right. Yeah, I'm done. You can take it.
Okay.
Pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona. In Studio A, overlooking the South Mountain, America's largest city park. There you go. You have it. And
Recap of the morning session.
today it took 7 minutes and 3 trades to get to $1,800.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alrighty, guys, we'll pick up where we left off on the recap. We just got to crude. So here's where we opened last night, right at a weekly zone. So that's resistance, resistance. See how, remember I said 70% of the time when we hit a zone, we consolidate. And that's what it looks like. So we consolidate. We did drop to the BBC and it acted as support, set us back to the zone, expect to be resistance. But then price got below the BBC and it traded right down to our target and overshot it just a little bit. Okay, I was keying off this just above this low. Probably should have done it right here, but anyway, we hit it. Support would send us back to resistance at the zone. Resistance now has sent us looking for support, which at the moment looks like we found for the last hour and a half or so at that target area. So that's the story on crude. Let's go to gold. We opened last night. Now remember, those of you that joined late, let me just show you. The CTAs went out last night at 6:25 p.m. Eastern. So 25 minutes into that first 30-minute candle, all members and trial members got all these targets. Okay. That's for anybody that joined late. So we opened, we came down to the BBC, but this time it failed to hold. Now the pullback holds more often than not. But eventually we know it's going to trade through. We never know which time that's going to be, but there are some things like when blue and climbing turns to red and falling, that's an indication it might not hold. Sent us all the way down to the target. And that low is the Monday low right there. Not the low of the day, but that low. Okay. So support sent us back to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, back to support. And then we overshot. We didn't make it all the way to the target, but we did make it. See, we were trying to get to that high right there, and we failed. Price comes back to the BBC. Blue and climbing turns to red and falling. So we get a leg, a retracement, a leg, retracement, and a leg. And shoot, I think I had a logic alert to go short at 23.27. That's going to be a stop out. It's already pulled back. But hey, that's the truth about trading. I mentioned earlier, we're now over 17,000 individual handcrafted alerts for the past 308 weeks. We've averaged on a weekly basis 20% or less of the logic alerts being stopped out based on market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. So the market found support right at that low. See, now why didn't I put it? Because I know that that low is support. Should have put it down here, but woulda, coulda, shoulda. So that's going to show up in the recap as a stop out. And if this resistance we've pulled up from this support to this resistance, if that resistance holds and we take out this low, then we could drop all the way to the weekly zone. Or price could continue pulling up to the BBC. Now, on the pull up, if it overcomes the BBC, be aware of this bearish cross where the red line got below the green line, because that will almost always be good resistance. Same is true of a bullish cross in the opposite direction. Silver. Here's where you opened below the BBC. Price dropped right to the target, which was defined yesterday. Then we tried to get to the zone, but we didn't quite make it. Buyers came in, just back up to resistance, but we were unable to take out those highs. That's a sign of weakness. Down we go to the BBC, the pullback holds. We get stopped. We got a double top there right now. Blue and climbing turns are red and falling, so we get a leg, a retracement, leg, consolidation right there at the zone 70% of the time, and then another drop. Now what's happening is the step line is crossing. See how on the way down you got price, step line, red and falling, BBC. When that step line crosses from the left side to the right side of red and falling, that's an indication that you're probably going to attempt to pull back to the BBC. Depending upon how long it takes to get there, and if we go sideways a little bit, then the BBC will drop and you could have resistance times 2. Remember, if price runs up to the zone, we expect resistance. If it runs up to the BBC, we expect resistance. So if by the time it actually gets there, those two are aligned, then that's resistance times 2. Euro. We opened here. Didn't quite make it to the BBC, but we did run up to the zone, which we expect to be resistance, and it was. And we failed to take out yesterday's high, which would have been the long target. Now you shouldn't trade this long until you get well above the zone, which is 835/840. And we did. So if you took that, well, getting stopped out is as much a part of trading as breathing is a part of life. So resistance will always send the market looking for support. When price drops to a zone, we expect support. When it bounces up to the BBC, we expect resistance. So down we go. This time we get through the zone, we hit the short target, and we continue all the way down to the next zone, which becomes support. And that has now bounced us up to the BBC. Now notice red and falling has, number one, the step line crossed, pull back to the BBC. Now because we have blue and climbing, it's possible in this case, pullback doesn't hold, and we keep moving higher to the zone. If the pullback holds and price starts to drop, then blue and climbing, which will be up around here by that point, you got to expect that to be support till proven otherwise. So if price starts to drop, let it get below blue and climbing. before you take a short position. That's everything. ES sitting at a zone. Dow sitting at a zone. Oh, and on the Dow, look, step line's about to cross. So we most likely will get a pullback or an attempted pullback to the BBC. And right there, that's resistance times 2 because the BBC is right at the zone. I've gone through all of these already, but this is just for people that came late. In Q, we open here, resistance, support, resistance, support. Now, the step line is directly above price. So is blue and climbing. That's potential resistance. Crude oil, consolidation, down to the target, support, back to the zone, resistance, back to the target, support. Gold, there's a logic stop out here because, oh wait, the low is 2327.1. So that logic short at 2327 never got triggered because we never got to 2327. We only got to 237.1. Awesome. Silver. Looks like we're getting ready for a retracement to the BBC. Just talked about that. So on the daily chart, resistance overhead at the black step line, support at the 62% fib extension. Over here, these are the fib retracements from April 19th to the all-time historic high. If price can take out yesterday's low, today's low is 55.11. Yesterday's low is 55.10 and a quarter. So if we take out yesterday's low, then you got to be concerned with this low at 54.8975 right there on June 17th. Price travels through that, and we got support times 2 at the daily BBC and the 50% fib extension. But we're printing a green candle, so it's not like the bottom's about to fall out, but that can change. By looking at the daily chart, we know where major resistance is, or major support is. The institutional traders look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. No matter what you trade, future stocks, crypto, Forex, ETF, if you'll train yourself to just spend 2 minutes looking at the daily chart before you drop to the smaller time frames to start trading, I believe you'll see your performance improve over time. Because you only got to do what the deep pockets are doing long enough to get your goal for the day. To become a member, learn how to read the charts. Remember, you can't learn how to trade until you learn how to read the charts. So that's the first thing I'll do is teach you how to read the charts. 9 out of 10 new traders fail. Why? Because they don't have anyone to teach them how to do the job. Imagine you wanted to become an insurance agent. What's the first thing you got to do? You got to find some company that'll sponsor you and teach you and train you and get you through the licensing process. No matter what career path you choose, you need someone to teach you how to do the job. I mean, that's just common sense. But because trading has such a low barrier to entry, and when other people are doing it, it looks so simple. What was that old commercial, Geico, even a caveman could do it? Apparently that was politically incorrect. The caveman got upset. They had to remove that commercial. Now, becoming a passport holder doesn't guarantee you'll become the 1 out of 10. But it does guarantee that you at least have a fighting chance. You have 2 hours of live training and live markets every trading day. Plus, you get private one-on-one mentoring at no extra cost. Strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder are fluid across all markets, all time frames. Future stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs, doesn't matter. We trade every market exactly the same. People will tell you, well, you can't do that. They got different personalities. We don't care about the personality. We're not looking for a date or to get married. We just want a high probability, low risk trade setup. Remember, the goal for the day on the S&P is only 2 points. That's 8 ticks. Get your goal for the day in crude or gold, 10 ticks. Now, some of you are smart and you're doing the math. You're going, man, that's only $100 a day. Until you earn enough money trading to add a second contract. Then the same 2 points become 200 a day. The 24/20 blueprint will tell you when it's time to add the third contract, the fourth contract, the fifth contract, all the way up to number 20. But you only add one at a time. When the blueprint says it's time, you only add with profit you earned in the market. If you have the discipline to follow the blueprint, okay, chances of blowing up another account are greatly diminished. In fact, you'll have to break a lot of rules and it'll take a long time. If you stick to the rules, ask lots of questions, show up, do the work, you too can learn how to trade. Like if you put me behind the counter at Starbucks right now, I'd be lost. I mean, I can handle a Mr. Coffee, right? I can even handle a Keurig. But all that stuff they got going back there with them handles and all that steam, and someone would have to teach me. And then I'm sure I could do it. If I wanted to do it, or needed to do it. As a passport holder, you also get the Logic 247 alerts. Yay, we broke 17,000 alerts today. The concierge trade alerts, the weekly trading zones. You're able to attend the members only workshop on Thursday night. And you get the golden key that opens the private channels in Telegram. So in other words, not only would you be able to attend the members only workshop Thursday night, but you'll have the key to the vault that contains years of previous workshops that you can watch if you want to. Okay? It really is everything a trader needs, all under one roof at one low price. Oh, I forgot one thing. Around the clock support via our Telegram discussion group. If I'm not around to answer your question, one of our experienced traders will be around to answer your question. mytradingiq.com. Questions, call 949-42-EMINI or send an email to support@cfrn.net. Let's go to our good word for the day. Yesterday it was about using your gift. Today's good word for the day, not hopefully, but surely. Psalm 23:6. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Psalmist doesn't lead with words like maybe, perhaps, possibly, or hopefully. No, he says, surely. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Surely is a term of certainty. Surely means absolutely, without a doubt. There are a lot of things in life you can't be sure of. You go for a physical checkup and discover you have a malignant growth. You work in the same company for years, believing your job is secure, then they downsize, and suddenly you're unemployed. You pray for your children, live an exemplary life before them, and teach them what's right. Then you find yourself down at the police station trying to get them out of the cell because they were arrested for drunk driving or, God forbid, doing drugs. As a redeemed child of God, you can be sure of God's goodness and mercy. So, what's your concept of God? That's an all-important question, so think about it before you answer. Your concept of God will determine your confidence in Him. Now, David, who wrote this psalm, was far from perfect. Indeed, some of his antics would have made the front pages of the tabloids at the checkout counter at the grocery store. But he never doubted God's goodness and mercy towards him. Psalm 56:9. This I know, that God is for me. Elevation Worship just released a song sometime back. God is not against me. It's a powerful worship song. If you've never heard it, just go to YouTube and type in God is not against me. That might not be the name, but if you type that in YouTube, it'll pop right to the top. Elevation Worship. It's an awesome, awesome song. Worship song. Jesus said in Hebrews 13:5, I will never leave you nor forsake you. His goodness guarantees every need you have can be met. And His mercy guarantees that every sin you commit can be forgiven. Just as sheepdogs drive strays back into the fold, so God's goodness and mercy will drive you back into His loving arms every time. And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, hang on. Stephen Furtick, yes, Elevation Church, yes, is part of writing 90% of the songs our church plays. Yeah, he got some Grammys. The Elevation Worship Team and Maverick City Music, they work together on a lot of the songs. They got some Grammys for their work. And that one song, may goodness and mercy follow you and your children and your children's children. He co-wrote that with, I can't think of her name, but yes, that is some of the, if you listen to Christian radio when you're driving, like if you listen to Air One or K-Love, a lot of what you hear is going to be stuff that Elevation wrote and are probably even performing. And they work very closely with Maverick City Music. So, yeah, Kenneth, great. I'm glad you're familiar with that. So, thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.